Alright, Chapter 29, Working with Tables and Drawings. Solidworks enables you to create several types of tables with the drawing. Design tables review the part with some of the control with the create the tabulated type of the drawing. Whole tables enable you with the chart center location side of the whole. It's easy access to the manufacturing data. That revisions help with the document with the revision history with the table. General tables are also available to specialized items that are not covered by other table types. In this chapter, you will learn to create a bill of materials, insert display, design tables, and use whole tables, and describe the drawing details. Create and control revision table settings. Use employee general tables, employee tables, and models. Driving the bill of materials. The bill of materials most frequently use the type of the tables available in SolidWorks bill of materials intended use with assemblies, but you can also use them with the individual part specialized application information. You can expect to see them in the bill of materials include item number, the file name, quantity, the description, any other custom property that would be like to add with the bill of type of bill of materials shown in figure 29. One bill of materials made of two-way. The default bill of materials made with the SolidWorks table, while Excel based bill of materials is driven by Excel. You can also configure the bill of materials manually use the general table, but that would take advantage of the automated functions. Although Excel offers some of the advantage of the SolidWorks internal table type, it's preferred with the default bill of materials tool on the drawing toolbar. Leave the SolidWorks table. Excel bill of materials available to add customizing interference, but no longer is default. The Excel and SolidWorks table base bill of materials are not interchangeable, so if the plan customize the default table templates, you need to decide what the type of the bill of materials Excel SolidWorks you want to use. SolidWorks tables are preferred over to Excel for several reasons. For the Excel tables have caused a lot of crashes in the past. Moving Excel from the mix have been preventing lots of loss of data. Secondly, not all the companies Excel, though, who don't often use very old version. Third, SolidWorks cannot provide enhancement Excel functionality, especially old Excel functionality. The only way to get all this is the SolidWorks software designer to create their own internal tables that worked out pretty well. SolidWorks also provided the equivalent tool for the design table that so the design Excel is no longer really a requirement to get all the functionality out of SolidWorks. Sample the bill of materials. You can also play with the bill of materials directly into the assembly and even in the multi-body parts. Examining SolidWorks table based on bill of materials. The bill of materials shown in figure 29. One, the default SolidWorks table based bill of material. The difference between the display with the two types of the bill of materials is mainly cosmetic with the manager. Bigger difference is the functionality of the property manager interface. SolidWorks bill of materials shown in figure 29. 2. Creating table based on bill of material templates. Like other tab of the SolidWorks table driven the bill of material start from a template of the bill of material in figure 29. One created with the default of the bill of material template. When a bill of material is initiated, you can select the template with the table template panel near the top of the property manager shown with the figure 29. 2 with the create with the table based on the bill of material template. The same way with the creating other templates with the specify the setting with delete the document specific data. Save the template, exit the template from the library co-location. The property manager of the table is driven bill of materials. The table bill of materials standard table position attached with the anchor of the bill of type at the top level. Only priorities involved indented configurations. Display one item number to display the configuration. Same part of the separate items. Display all items configured with the same under one other items configured all with the same name as one item. Keep missing item rows. Strike out. Replace the components. Item number items numbers start at 1, increments of 1. Do not change the items. Change border. Use document setting, layer format, and text format upper or lowercase. Save the template. Right click the bill of materials cells. Select save as in the files on the top of the drop down. Select with the template solid bill of materials template. The extension of the solid bill of materials template is SolidWorks bill of materials template. Table template. Any of the setting of the additional columns with the link with the property so on are saved in the template. Reused when create the new template from the template. Setting a table anchor with a table anchor link locked with the corner of the table. Select with the point with the drawing sheet format. If you do not select a point within the formatted table display for the corner of the sheet, the specify with the point with the format to activate the anchor. You must be editing the format. Right click with the sheet. Select with the edit sheet format. Right click on the sketch of the end point with the format. Select with the anchor as specified with the table. The type of the anchor is intended. You can differ anchor location for the different type of the tables. Figure 29.3 show the selection of the menus for this option. You should save the format drawing template with the table to anchor specified so that you do not need to respectively for them each in the drawing. If you want to check with the sheet with the format, see what anchors exist, you can spam the sheet format and feature manager for the drawing. The anchors will be listed under the sheet format. Figure 29.3 shows the setting of the bottom below materials of the table anchor, and we've anchored that to the bill of materials. You can have all these different revision tables. Using bill of material types, SolidWorks have three bill of material types. Top level, the parts only and indented. As the name suggests, the top level only bill of material show only the components of the top level. The retreats of the subassembly as a single entry with it. As a result of the top level assembly shown with the drawing is made up of 5 sub-assemblies, 2 individual parts. The select of the top level option, and then only with the sub of the items shown in the bill of material. The part of the only bill of materials ignores sub-assembly structure displays only parts in a unindented list. Indented bill of materials show the parts of sub-assembly with indented list under the name of the sub-assembly. The most complete list of the SolidWorks documents used because it includes all of the part and assemblies. Showing the numbered option of the intent of the assembly, but they activated only after the select of the indented option. Play for the table to blend you the option the cause of the sub-assembly part of the number, but the X number system. For example, the item number the 4 with the sub-assembly with the 3 parts of the parts of the number 1, 4, 2, 4, 3. Use the configuration of the panel of the bill of material property management. The display is slightly different for the top level only bill of materials compared with the other type of top level only bill of materials. Enable the option to show the multiple assembly configuration. Display the quantity of the top level components with a separate parent columns to show in figure 29.4 with the figure show with the configuration name of the simplified as suppressed parts. Configuration option within the bill of materials. Bill of materials top level the parts only with the configuration default with the simplified motion from the rendering and analysis of the parts configuration group at the display with the on the item number the configuration for the same part with the separate items, and then show the parts configuration group. Locking and keeping the missing of the items option with the missing chamber the bottom of the parts for either of the suppressed or deleted with all together the sum of the company documentation standard the requirement of the parts to be removed from the bill of material remaining on the bill appear through strikeout format, keeping the missing items zero quantity display with have been both button move with the tools option for the document property detail on the table screen. Choosing zero quantity display option. Zero quantity displays option are the only configuration where the component isn't used. There are 3 options that are available. The quantity with the dash, substitute with the dash for the quantity value, quantity of 0, with the 0 for the quantity value, and blank set the quantity value to blank. Assigning item numbers. Item numbers of the component list in the bill of material can start with a specific number, be given a particular interval. Do not change the item number. The option means even with a row with the reorder with the items number, stay with the original components. Following assembly order option with which is available through the right mouse button. The right mouse button means with the order of the component of the bill of material file with the order of the component of the assembly feature managed with if the order is changed within the assembly, it also updated the drawing. Heading into the bill of material content that should be changed with the bill of material through the right mouse button menu with the figure 29.5 show the bill of material with the right mouse button menu. For example, you can control the drag the row number, the reorder bill of material item, right click with the item. Row of the numbers are displayed only after you select the bill of material table. The row of bill of material with the right mouse button left, and you can check on the insert column right or left. Here, add columns or rows of the bill of material, additional property manually edited parts. Such items you wouldn't let model like glue, paint. Their virtual components can also be used for this purpose. The name of the property display with the column with double click on the column. Header and preview the view for the menu with the same of the options down found with the right menu. We're found with the more complex bill of material properties window with the new arrangement is for the more intuitive. Most SolidWorks you know how to try with the right mouse button menu if they select something and don't find the option key they're looking for on the property manager. Controlling the appearance of the table with the base on the bill of materials. To move the table and play with the mouse over the bill of materials, note with the border that appears around with the drag with the crosshair with the icon with the borders with the move of the table. Within the select of the table, the border will remain enabling with the move of the array order the bill right mouse button menu. Reach space with the cell you can chamber the property over the row of the column. Select the just outside of the row of the column with the top of the left. You can assemble the spacing of the width of the row of the columns, drag with the border on the left side of the column. Split cursor exit of the column width of the setting through the formatting option on the right mouse button menu. While selecting is activated, you can also explain with the panel with the left of the anchor to the top of the by clicking the three small arrow with the select of the bill and the zero border. Figure 29.6 show with the left panel with the call of the assembly structural panel. Expand with the cursor pointing and the 3 small arrow with additional showing with the assembly with the structure of this panel. You can also show which parts for the balloon on the drawing. So the expand bill of material bill of orders. Note that item 7 of the bill of materials different symbol of the name of the virtual of the component created with the content that is based on the non-saved on its own document. File exists only when in the assembly. Dissolve combining the numbers from the reconstruction for the indented of the bill of materials. You can dissolve within assembly with the bill of material. To do with the bill of materials must show the indented list. If you can accept the dissolve the option with the right menu button, assembly icon you can delete with any of the restructure if they have done with the bill of material. Right click on the assembly icon with the red structure arrows, reselecting restore restructured components. If the build material show the sum of the parts is identical, you would be able to like to combine them again and activate the option with the right menu, mouse button, menu, items, numbered of the intensive of the build materials can be flat, such as 1, 2, or 3, or they can be detailed, such as 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. The reflected parts of the members of the sum of the formatting options available with the build material type panel with the build material property manager under the indented option. Adding columns or rows. To add a column, right click with the near of the set what you wanted to add. The column on the two for the insert of the column on the right or the left. Insert of the rows to exactly the same. And the next thing you want to do with the column is assign what kind of the data goes in. That you can custom properties such as the part weight of the vendor of the shown with the figure 29. So with an active with the interface with double clicking a column. Header selecting custom property from the drop down list. One of the really beautiful aspects of the custom property management of the build material is that you can text with the column of the sale of the driven by part property. Solidworks will automatically update with the part with the property didn't exist with the part previously with the Solidworks will also create the property. We will need to select the keep the link option in the pop-up when it's presented with the editing of the table in the way that preserve the associated link. Warning to maintain a parametric link between the cell and the component of the select with the keep link when a pop-up appears. Note, if you create the build material with the columns and properties that you like, and you can save them into a template as described earlier in this chapter. Editing the build materials when you need to manually edit and manually enter text on the build material example, the general tables and customs of the object of the build materials. You can use the tab and arrow key to move the cursor between the cells. Here's some of the navigation functionality. Enter, move to the next cell with the tab, move to the next cell with the right arrow, move the cursor in any direction. Shift the arrow, increase the selection size. Shift tab, move the cursor back and forth, backward. Shift enter, move the tab, move the cursor up. Home, move the cursor to the first column. Control, move the upper left corner of the table. And in combination with the arrow keys, move the end of the indicated control and move the cursor to the bottom of the right corner of the table. Here's the summary of the editing functionality. F2 edits the contents of the cell. Double click edits the contents of the cell. Alt enter adds multiple rows to the cell. Delete deletes contents of the cell without activating the cell. Backspace delete the contents of the cell, activating the cell. Control delete one word at a time. Edit multiple row heights simultaneously. Lock the right and lock the row height and width, column width. Copy the cell from the Excel Solidworks and tables. Retiring Excel-based bill of materials. In previous version, Excel-based bill of materials were only one way to add the bill of materials to a drawing. This feature has been replaced with the more aspect Solidworks native table drawn bill of materials, but many people still use the Excel-based bill of material either out of the habit to comply with the legacy standard figure 29H of the interface with the Excel, the bill based on bill of material. Best practice, unless you have a compelling reason to do so with the Solidworks table based on the bill of material, this function will be supported in the future version of the Solidworks software. Figure 29H of the interface of Excel based on military bill of materials. So the configuration contents. Are you using design tables? That's with an X. Design table, you the drive with the configuration parts of the assembly can be shown on the drawing. The type of the drawing is off the cover of the tabulated drawing. The typical parts of the become basic shape of the common among the scribble side of the version of the part of the size of shown by the symbol of the drawing of the column head of the symbol shown with the variable dimension from the corresponding side of the configuration. Name the insert from the design table of the drawing with the insert of the table of the design table, or by clicking design table between the button of the table toolbar. Either case with the pre-select with the draw view of the table part with the sub-assembly contained with the design table before menu selecting with the toolbar but the button when it becomes activated. The design table that with the display but in this way with the often formatted in some extent, you need to hide the column of the row unless you have a dimension. The feature of the name of the syntax with the display with the drawing as well as the values of the extreme columns rows are often added to make the design table readable. Figure 29.9 show the drawing with the table insert with the display with the table properly. You must be added with the text table in the window of the parent with the document just for the border of the table to be exactly how you want it to appear with the drawing and adjust the table is shown figure 29.9. 29.9 drawing with the design table inserted. Label of dimension with the create with simply making with the reference of the dimension, override with the dimension with the value of the dimension, text with the property manager. If you want to examine the data more closely, the drawing part will include with the download materials on the Wiley website. Drawing with the DT solid drawing you with the part design table that can be with the place with the assemble the design table onto the drawing, the often called the tabulated detailed drawing. If you need to place something on the drawing, especially with the design table, but it does not appear with the design table will meet your needs, you can simply copy the data of the design table to recreate with the static Excel spreadsheet. The design table that you place on the drawing will be updated and changed in part or similar just like the drawing geometry, but you must manually update Excel spreadsheet with the created with the copy data, with the keep it in your mind with the most decide with the automatic function for them worth it a while to time to invest in setting them up. In my case, they are in other cases. They require more work than they save. Placing whole tables on the drawing. You can place a whole table of the drawing and include the information set for the size position with the number of the holes and slots with given on the drawing. Not only circular holes and slots and blind slots with the counter bore slots for the chambers that were created with the hole wizard to recognize. You do not have to use the hole wizard, simply hold features, but you make the hole. This position gives given relative to the selected reference positions of the holes that are labeled. It should not be used as a whole table for the slots unless you are first. Your first test is to make sure you're getting correct data. Note, blind spot slots were not created to even the whole wizard and recognize the slots with the width of the length and the list of the depth is not listed. You also should know that cutouts are accepted regardless of their own shape, but you will get a warning about the center location of such holes being approximate and unconstrained. The hole size are not supported. Like other whole tables, you can use templates for also with the other templates. You should store whole tables templates for the library area outside of the local SolidWorks installation folder. Consider the direct SolidWorks the location of the choosing tools option file location specified with the path setting. Whole tabs over the anchor exactly the same way over the bill of material. For more information, see with the section of the table anchor of the yearly and the shaft that you can find with the option with the whole of the table to with the tools option with the document property drafting standard. Tables and holes figure 2910 show for the property manager for the whole tab of the left image. Shows the property manager with the period with the creator with the table, the right image show the one that appears when any edited table figure 2911 show the resulting whole table of the data with the part with the contained with the whole of the table that incorporates the whole with the multiple view with a different zero reference with each of these view. You show the whole table to function with click the insert table the whole tablet. Specify the datum either select with an edge of each of the directions serve with a zero mark from the x and y direction for the serve as a vertex point of the serve and as an origin both directions. Select the holes of the include with the table to activate the selection box for the holes panel. Either select the holes edge of directly, select the focus on the holes are located to after you play with the tab. You can add the holes and chain with the data and information. Do with this or right click with the whole table entry. Drawing the feature manager with the select the edit feature that you can resize the columns and rows in the same way as the bill of material tables. In table the figure 2911 the combined same size of the option is used to cause several of the tables to be merged. This option is available with the right mouse button menu of the table. If you use the combined same tags option with the whole locations are not displayed, only the whole call out description and quantity appear. You can control the whole cutout description using the file name call out format text, which is found in language English subdirectory SolidWorks installation directory. Again, if you customize the file, you should keep the library external with the initial installation directory list of the tools option file locations are. This test file enables you to define how whole callouts are specified with the different types of holes. So in figure 2910, we show the property manager the whole tab. Message select option and then click OK to place the whole tab in the drawing. Table template, take table position, alphanumeric control, start and datum X and Y, axis, origin, holes, edge and faces, border, use documentation, layer, and text format all uppercase. And then the second one it shows multiple view selection, datum, origin, edge, holes in, text and formats all uppercase. 2911 show the whole table conforming with the holes in the different settings, and show the table over here on the left. Using revision table, the revision table, you the table that includes exactly the same way the bill of material, the revision table that also give the template the same way with the other table types. You should be moved the customized tables for the library location, specify the location tools application option, allow location. Figure 2912 show the revision table of property interface when you create the control setting of the table, the default of the setting of the revision table by choosing the tools option, document properties, define standard table of revision, initiate the revision table of function through the menu of the table's toolbar. However, the function simply created with the table that does not populate with the SolidWorks file with the management which is not covered by the book and can be used with the help of the automatically fill in the revision as our created. I'm going to set up the table to ink of the drawing format and over the table to anchor the work that you and I have with the form. Additional column with the except for the other data that you have created with the column with the format ink and save the change with the template, which is also available through the right mouse button menu. You can manually add the revision table to right click with the table to choose the revision, add revision, and this completely control over whether the revisions either numerical or alphabetical revision level, but it does provide with a more complex revision scheme. Immediately after you've created the revision, the option is enabled where you can prompt the place of the balloon that contains the revision level of identified has been changed. Finish placing symbol of pressing escape to where you have finished placing the balloons. You will fill with the description of the revision. Double click on the description cell where you want to add the text figure 2913 show the revision table with the balloons placed on the drawing revision table that works for the creating the revision custom property for the drawing document and the increment of the revision. Each time the revision is added to the table, you can add more columns and link to the custom property revision table templates. Alright, revision table templates, property manager interface, show the number 1 in a triangle, revision table, select option for the click to place some of the revision table into the drawing table template, table position, adds to the anchor point, revision shapes, symbol shapes, and circle, triangle, square, polygon, some system options, enable symbol when adding new revision, options, update zone cells, update, use document settings, layers, and text format, all uppercase, revision table of balloons specified, no, gauge tables and tables specified with the sheet metal that are covered in detail in chapter 34. Using Solidworks sheet metal tools, weldment, cutlass, or special type of table that closely resemble the bill of material table in many ways that discussed in chapter 36, creating weldments and weldment drawings. Using general table, you can use the general table at the top of the tabulated data with the complete column headed to use the file filled with either text labeled with a custom property links. You can also use the regular XOLE object for the same purpose depending on the application for the preferred use to them. General table, use the final extension solid table that works. You can create it without template with a simple block with a 4 empty cells. You can use the template have the set with the pre-created headers. Working with the tables and models. Proponent of the solid making of the heaven saying for the year of the 2D drawings are going to be disappear, however, not even convinced paper drawings will continue to be useful until the old manufacturing methods are abandoned. This probably won't be happening in your lifetime. However, because some of the companies rely less on the 2D and paper drawing, but the industry will develop new ways to create 2D type of the documentation instead of 3D document. ASME Y1441 standard deals primarily with the transition. Solidworks correspond with the type of the requirement adding feature for the enable you document 3D data, placing the bill of materials assembly file with one way of doing this. Placing 2D type of data with 3D model documents can be reduced with the need of the paper to even electronic 2D documentation. Figure 2914 show the bill of materials inside an assembly model document. Display bill of materials inside a document. Matching the relative scale with the table to the model can be difficult to do this. You must adjust the zoom of the model until the fairly small of the screen, and then play for the table. After you play for the table assembly with the table, will get zoomed. After you play for the table, the assembly and the table will zoom together. Most users avoid this issue by viewing the table in a separate window. Although you can use the bill of materials scaling box of the bill of materials property manager that enables you to scale the bill of materials without using previous method. Although the previous method still works, instead of the bill of materials can be played with the notes area with an placed in notes areas and defined with the right-clicking on the notes folder with the feature manager. To be sure the place of the table in the notes area so that you will not spin or rotate along the viewpoint. Another type of the tab that uses the 3D model document with the type of the block table, which can be used the inside of the parts on assembly. Can use the title block title block templates within the drawing to fill in the information about the part and assembly in the same time avoid creating a full 2D drawing. Alright, tutorial using bill of materials. Rather than having the tutorials every type of the table type, the chapter has tutorials on the bill of material, the whole table, the revision table, the transfer, the skill, the use of these types of the other material. The tutorial will guide you through the steps of preparing an assembly for the drawing bill of material configuration, custom property. To give the example of that the drawing views and cross-hatching cannot see with the geometry you may have to press the control key to rebuild it and follow these steps. Beginning with the tutorial of the Solidworks, close the window Explorer open. If you've not already done this, create the folder library that is not in your Solidworks installation called D library or something similar with the folder inside of the call of the drawing templates. Copy the file with the chapter 29 download materials and instrument the B drawing template and B no views drawing template in the new folder. Launch SolidWorks for the tool. Retrieve the tool's option file location document type with the add button. Add new library path. Shut down the SolidWorks and restart it. Click open with the body build materials assembly SolidWorks assembly chapter 29. Download materials. Click the making drawing from the part with the assembly option. Select the file menu with the making the new drawing. The assembly for the drawing template of the folder created in steps 2 and 3. Delete the isometric view of the create with the new view of the configuration angle and show the explode state with the evening setting shown figure 2916. Edit the sheet format. Right click with the sketch point and location indicated with the figure 2915 in the pop-up menu that appears. Select the anchor. Then click on and select the bill of materials. Exit edit sheet with the format mode and select edit sheets from the right menu mouse button. Select the new view, show the exploded state with the right click, select the property, show the exploded state with the scores for the insert for the type of the table of the bill of materials. Click on the bill of materials button, table of the tools bar, select with the attach with the anchor point option with the show with the both configuration angle 1 and angle 2 with the bill of materials shown figure 2916. Click inside the exploded view, but not only with the part of the geometry. Just select the auto balloon with the tool with the annotation of the toolbar. Toggle with the available option within the see whether the impossible auto balloon configuration meet your needs. If not, use the scanner balloon tool for the select of the part of the balloon place for the balloon. The use gives you the more of the control of the attachment points of the placement of the balloon. Change the balloon between the short pin and the circular split line balloon. Does this by clicking the balloon, switching the style of the property manager. Know the quantity of the period with the bottom of the balloon. Drawing view of the bill of material should look like figure 2917. The second leader with the balloon and the short pin with the control dragging the attachment point of the first lever with the one point to the other. Notice that several of the parts of the default description. The description edit each of these parts with the double taking with the description field of the part with the want to change. Change the value of the bill of material of the table. This will update with the part that's automatically the bracket part with the list of twice with the configuration name because of the way with the configuration is set up with the part. Notice all of the description field hold the configuration specifically custom property the description which is based on the bill of material to lift the bracket at once only once you with the configuration file name open bracket. Right click on one of the configuration name of the configuration manager. Select property the bill of materials options of the document name from the drop-down list. Do this for the other configurations as well. Notice all the description of the field holds for the configuration, specifically custom property for the description with the bill of material toggle back with the drawing with the control tab. Select anywhere with the bill of material table, then select with the table the property from the property manager. Expand with the part configuration group to panel. Select with the option to display all the configuration with the same part with as one item. This changes the how of the bracket displays as well with the pens. Now add a column to the bill of material that calls on existing custom property that already in all the parts of the place with the cursor over the last column with the right and right click retrieve with the insert column right. Display with the new column on the right and last one. Display with the pop-up menu that enables you to see with the set the column to be driven by a custom property as shown in figure 2918, and then show the custom properties on the property name and adding a column. First drop-down selection box, wave of the custom property, click on the green check mark with the icon, accept the chain with the pop-up menu that disappears. You need to get the back of the double click with the column header to redisplay. You can save the bill of materials, additional column with the bill of materials template, right-clicking anywhere, bill of materials, selecting save as. You can see and then set the type of the bill of material template with the directory of the library location bill of material templates. If you want to compare the results again, you have the example to check with the finished drawing, which is called bill of material tutorial finished solid work drawing. Tutorial using whole table to whole table. Tutorial gives you the creating and change the setting with the common SolidWorks whole table to following steps. Create a new drawing with the inch B2 and then overview of the drawing document template. And if you have the create of the bill of material with the move of the drawing template, the name of the inch drawing template. Drawing document from the download materials to your local library location drawing template, then create the drawing from the template. Click the model view bottom of the drawing toolbars, browse with the tool, and name the whole table part, solid part. Place the front view of the project left view of the isometric, then exit to quit with the command. Finally, delete the 4 predefined views. No anchor exit for the template of the whole table. If you want to create one, do this now. Follow the step of the build material tutorial, specify the anchor point. Click the whole table button on the tables toolbar. Pick your 2919 selection of the whole table. The property manager with the selections you need to make for this whole table. Yeah. Select the vertices going into the origin. Select those faces that go into the edges of faces selections. After you have completed the section, click the next view button at the bottom of the property manager. Make similar section for the left view of the whole of the both views or add in a single whole table. For table to create with the default setting with the established rules option, document property the table to both. You can change from here to specified table. Click anywhere with the table, then select the table of property at the bottom of each of the property managers. Change with the numerical alphabetical sign up to later to each of the whole of the type of the number. Each instance of the type. Make this change update with the table of figure 2920 show with the table of the before and after the changes. Change the number of decimal place if you do a whole table from 2 places to 3. If you can do this in the property manager, deselect hide whole centers option visibility panel. Select columns combine same size option with the property manager. Save the drawing. Tutorial using revision table. In this tutorial, you'll create a basic revision table to make it a template to follow these steps. View the drawing that completed in one of the previous tutorials. Make sure that the revision table anchor has been placed in the upper right corner of the sheet format. You must edit the sheet format to do this. Right click with the point you want to use. Anchor, remember to select the edit sheet with the right mouse button to edit the sheet with the format mode. Note, ideally the anchors of all the table types should be set in the templates and formats, but you shall see them up in their practice creating the anchors. Click on the revision table button with the table toolbar. Select the attached to anchor option with the property manager. Click with the green check mark icon to accept the table of figure 2921. Show the initial stub of the revision table. Shows revision zone, revision description date, and approved as your top headings. You consider the drawing type of the revision table show as a format. The revision table is not saved with the format because it has to go on the drawing sheet. Initiate the new revision level of the revision table. The right click with the table to choose the revision, add revision depending on the default setting of the tools option. Document property the drafting stand with the table of revision. The first revision will be either A or 1. If you're using the PDM work group, you may have the other options. Depending on your option setting, you may immediately be prompted to place the balloon that contains the new version. Level, placing the balloons with or without the leader's balloons are meant to indicate the area of the balloons that are affected by the revision. Press escape when you're finished placing the balloons. Note, be careful when using balloons on assembly drawings or other drawings. They already have the balloons and other purpose of them from other purposes. They may have a good idea with the singly shaped balloons for the revision tables. To add text with the description field, simply click the field with the start typing tab. The typing of the text will be automatically wrapped fit in the box. Wait for the adding with a couple of revision balloon with the description. After you've added with a couple of revision, check with the custom property by choose the file property. The custom note the revision properties have been added. The latest of the revision is representing the value of the custom property. Note, you cannot specify the number of the revisions to be kept in the revision table as you could in previous release. However, if you control the how of the revision table to interact with the multiple sheets, you cannot do that. You cannot do this in previous releases. Add columns in the same way you add the bill of materials and merge with the unmerged cell with the link property of the cell with the cursor over the last column approved. Right click and choose the insert of the column. Left of the column properties to select the custom property of the drop down. Select the drawn by, except the change of the clicking the green check mark icon. Save the template. Right clicking anywhere with the revision table choose and save it as revision table template. Then save the template to the appropriate location outside of the Solidworks installation directory. Bottom line. Solidworks enables you to work with a table that highly specialized with a particular use of the general table available, the type of the tabulated data. Frequently, use the bill material of the whole table, the revision table, the design with the table, the draft, and assembly with the configuration can also be played with a 2D drawing. But if in these cases, the save of the format, some of the format is usually necessary to become on the table. The presentable, but the information is only easy to read. Master, go through all of the drawing templates for the format, also your separate formats. Make sure that they have the anchors for all the types of format types for tables for your company. Create type existing assembly drawing, add column to add property, fill it out, and property value of the table. Master it. Make sure the assembly has exploded view. Make one of the drawings show the explosion, not adding balloons to the view with the use of at least 2 circular split line balloons that show an item, show the item number as well as any other values such as the quantity with the line weight and custom property value. Chapter 30, Creating Assembly Drawings.